Yeah, I know I'm late, but honestly, I'd rather be late than to not show up at all. And I've got some thoughts, opinions, possible theories, no promises, and characters to simp over if my fangirl spirit is pleased by the characters. That being said, let's get started! Hey pups, Arby here, and I'm finally doing a Hazbin Hotel pilot review. But for anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to focus on the creator behind it all, for starters. Vivzie Pop, or Vivian Mandrano, is a very popular artist slash animator from YouTube, DeviantArt, maybe for Infinity, and so many more social medias as well. She went to the School of Visual Arts and graduated in 2014, and is also famous for her comic Zoophobia, along with her Die Young animation of her Zoophobia character JJ. And this video is sitting at a little over 70 million views. Damn! I followed her for a while after she posted a clip of the Hazbin song Inside of Every Demon is a Rainbow, but I kinda steered clear of her after she got cancelled for something I completely forgot about. I don't remember if it was something about her not taking critique, or making controversial comments, or something I just don't really care to remember, at all. But I was a dumb stupid teenager at the time, so screw it. Thankfully, she has since apologized and no longer stands by it all. And I'm glad she has. Then followed her again after seeing her Hazbin Pilot. Yes, I know, call me a fake fan, but honestly, I still love Vivzie Pop either way. She's also created another pilot, Helluva Boss, but we'll talk about that in another video. Speaking of which, let's get right into the review of the show. Or pilot in this case. So I'm just going to start with the story and plot and work my way down from the animation, music, characters, etc. So let's get on it already. The plot of Hazbin is simply this. The show obviously takes place in Hell. Princess Charlie Mange, the Princess of Hell and daughter of Lucifer and Queen Lilith, has created a hotel that rehabilitates sinners and to be redeemed to getting into heaven. And when she announces this on a newscast, she pretty much fails to get the other demons and sinners to get them hooked or give the idea a chance. Now, I'm all for Charlie's plan to redemption. The reason being is because there's an annual extermination, which is kind of like the New Year's Eve of heaven and hell. This upsets Charlie, and wants to find a less brutal and non-violent way to cut down Hell's population. Basically, to cut to the chase, the annual extermination is kind of like the Purge, and angels, known as exterminators, come down from heaven into hell to kill other demons, sinners, and yeah, you can probably get the idea already. Charlie's idea is a more peaceful and gentle way to do it. If a demon or sinner wants to go that path, they can make that choice instead of staying in hell and dying like cattle. But I do see a loophole in Charlie's projects. There are some people who belong in hell. A few examples of this are people like John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, pedophiles, incest lovers, kidnappers, murderers, rapists, and just extremely evil and bad people in general, who have little to almost damn near no chance at redemption. And also hellborn demons such as hellhounds and imps, for example. Speaking of which, a demon named Angel Dust is in a turf war with his buddy Cherry Bomb, and this girl, I freaking love her design. And this is how I know I'm a pansexual, because, woo! Girl look good. And the live feed of the war is shown on the news and basically messes up Charlie's plans to advertise and prove that the hotel and redemption is possible for sinners. But there's something Charlie has to know and accept. There are people who go to rehab centers, and more than likely, people can relapse back into their old habits, which is what Angel is doing now. He's having a bit of a relapse for a turf war. Plus, he owed Cherry a solid. Later in the limo scene, this is where Vaggie, Charlie's girlfriend, is pissed that Angel screwed everything up for them, and Charlie is more disappointed that things didn't go as well as she planned, and isn't really mad at Angel as Vaggie is. Angel kinda doesn't care. He's mostly at the hotel for free rent. But later at the hotel, he tries to comfort Charlie, or at least say something to maybe make her feel better, after making a joke, but realizes he was the cause of the failure of the hotel, so he doesn't have anything to say or do to help Charlie. and probably doesn't know how he can help her feel better. And this proves that not all demons and sinners are necessarily bad people. Sure, they make bad choices, and Angel can be a bit of an asshole, but he does have a little bit of a heart. Charlie calls her mom, leaving a voicemail, and then we meet another character, Alastor, the radio demon overlord. And I love this character. From his design, to his voice, to his personality and characteristics. Yeah, he's supposed to be a bad guy, but how can you not love someone like him? Baggy warns Charlie not to make a deal with him because he's one of those overlord deal makers. And as we all know, making a deal with a demonic overlord is never good news and never a good idea. Yet she doesn't! Finally, a protagonist that follows the rules of not making a deal with a sussy-looking motherfucker. Ariel should have taken lessons from Charlie, to be honest. The same goes for Prince Naveen with Dr. Facilier. But Alistair does agree to be Charlie's business partner on her terms and conditions. Sort of. And also, we have two other characters, Nifty, who's super epic precious, look at her! And Husk, a drunk fallen angel, I think fallen angel, I could be wrong, kitty demon, and is probably a mood for me and most other people. Also, there's the character Serpentious, but he gets his ass kicked by Alistair after training a Dr. Facilier on his fancy snake boy ass. Honestly, I'm excited to see what they can do for the whole series, and what else is in store for the future. That being said, let's get into the art and animation of the pilot. Now, I may be a mindless sheep for saying this, but the art style Viv made for the show is top notch. I really like her art style. I think I've tried copying it a few times, but it was too hard for me to do so. Now, it wasn't to steal her art style. There's plenty of others who have a similar style to Viv, but it was mostly to see what I could do with my own art style and see what works best for how I draw my characters and artwork. And the animation, well, some say it's not perfect, and there are a few gripes about it. I feel like it syncs great with the voice acting and the music. Plus, cleanup animators like Ashley Nicholas did a great job of making sure the animation was as perfect as possible for this pilot. As for people complaining about how there's too much red in the background, and how the background doesn't stand out, I beg to differ. The animation changes from funny to actiony, and they didn't cut corners with these characters. Most of them have amazing details and designs on them. But it can be overstimulating and hard to keep track of. One thing I do say is kinda cut down on the characters a little bit. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. As for the background and how much detail was put into it, I think it's fine. Putting red into the background was a good idea, and the background is still amazing even if they were made to have it extremely detailed. Even the hotel looks amazing. It kinda reminds me of the bathhouse from Spirited Away. Don't ask why, I don't know the answer either. Still, the art designs of the characters are wonderful and really unique, and the background works well with the setting and location of the show. Seeing as it's obviously hell and people are saying, "Too much red, you edgy overlords!" Well, it's hell. Hell quite possibly has a lot of red involved in most of its locations. Plus, there are 7 rings of hell, and whether or not the other rings have coordinated colors, like the envy ring being green, hence the phrase green with envy, or less being pink, purple, magenta, or some other color involving pink and or purple hues. It's entirely up to Viv and the crew. Plus, that'd be a good idea to have the 7 rings of hell, and the other 9 circles, to have a color pattern corresponding to their specific sin. I mean, that's what I do for the show. So hopefully Viv will do the same thing. Pointing out the obvious, the characters are what saved this pilot. Charlie is a pure sweetheart princess demon who just wants to help her people and find a different way to ease up the already overpopulated hell. Becky is Charlie's girlfriend, supports her idea and wants the hotel to kick off as much as Charlie does, is also quick to defend her if people talk shit about her bae, but is also quick to get angry and violent, especially with someone like Angel Dust. Speaking of which, Angel is most likely there for the free rent, as stated before, but I feel like he does support the idea, but isn't sure if it's possible, and he may or may not want to get redeemed. I mean, Not sure what the show is going to do with that, but I'm excited to see ideas. Cherry Bomb, from what we know from the pilot, is Angel's ride or die buddy, and they seem to be super close, which I love. Serpentious, I mean, he's a funny character and his voice actor is hilarious, but he's like the villain who tries too hard to be evil, unlike characters who don't even have to try or lift a finger like Alistair. But he's a funny character regardless. Speaking of which, Alistair seems to be a fan favorite alongside Angel Dust. Some would say his radio voice is annoying, but those may be the same people who think my masculine, Fluttershy-esque monotone voice is also annoying, so fuck those people. I like Al's voice. I don't care what you say! From his design to his voice, his personality, characteristics, everything about him basically brings in a lot of the fans. Plus, this was one of the characters Viv created back when she was in high school. Sharing fun facts here, guys. As for Nifty and Husk, even though we've just met them, and have yet to know anything else about them, Nifty is freaking adorable and is a sweet little knee freak, whose sin might involve adultery because she asks, "Are there any men here?" Believing Angel Dust is a girl because of how feminine he appears to be. Wonder what her reaction would be if she finds out he's a guy, or if they're gonna make it a running gag in the show. As for Husk, I love the design they went for him, and how they introduced him. Alistair basically teleported him from a poker game, and his design has poker card designs on there too. I like that. Plus, he's also a drunken sailor who just wants to drink his cheap booze, play poker, and be left alone. And he's also a grumpy kitty cat. I've also seen some ships of him and Angel Dust. I find it cute. Very, very cute. Wonder if they'll go for it and make Angel regain Husk's ability to love again. As for characters like Katie Killjoy, Tom Trench, some of the other characters that we briefly saw in the pilot, like Lucifer, and maybe some other characters, I don't really have too much to say about them, other than we don't know a whole lot about them, and I don't really have anything else to say about Katie Killjoy or Tom Trench, so yeah. All that aside, let's talk about the music of the show. I'm gonna say this first. The music of the show is fitting, wonderfully made, and perfect. The opening really draws you into the show, and I feel like Viv got heavy inspiration from Disney movies and musicals, seeing as she did a mini animation reel for a song from Wicked one time, so I can see where she gets all of her inspiration from. The opening is like the one for The Lion King, where you hear the first La Ciboña Barabi Si Baba. Also, I'm sorry I had to do several takes of this, so I apologize if that was bad. And that's what the first song did. And the beginning animation is beautiful. I love the Shadow Puppet style-esque animation they went for the start of Hazbin. The Inside of Every Demon is a Rainbow song is super cute, though a bit fast-paced, enjoyable nonetheless. Plus, they even got Lacey Lovelock as the singing voice of Charlie. She's one of my favorite YouTube singers and does a crap ton of musical covers. How she was able to do the song this fast is honestly incredible. I tried singing along with the song, but I always mess up no matter what I do. And Alistair's reprise, with the 1920s style of music and feel, it's a nice touch, and it even gives everyone 1920s style outfits in his number. That's honestly one of the best parts of his own reprise of Inside of Every Demon is a Rainbow, which he calls Inside of Every Demon is a Lost Cause. Kinda depressing there, Al. The rest of the music is extremely pleasing to listen to. I've tried looking up background music of Hazbin on YouTube without the voices or anything of that sort, but nothing yet, sadly enough. At least none that I can enjoy. Still, the music is fitting for the scenes that the editors put into it. But with every pro of a plot, there is also a con. I'm just gonna go through the cons that are my personal nitpicks and go from there. Now I'm gonna start off with the sound effects. They're good, but some of the sound effects don't work with whatever scene they use for the pilot, or they use too many of them. Jar already explained this in his video, which I will link in the description below, but some examples I am going to show or when there's a deflation of a balloon or a ball when Charlie looks a bit disappointed in this one scene, and it works well.
Look at me and I'll mouth it to you.
And then there's the scene with the limo where there's maybe one too many sound effects used. I'll just play a clip of the first draft and compare it to the updated one in the pilot.
No, babe. Jokes are funny. I made you look, sad and pathetic. Like an orphan with no arms or legs. With progeria. Great. Now I'm bummed thinking about it. This thing have any liquor? No, babe. Jokes are funny. I made you look, sad and pathetic. Like an orphan with no arms or legs. With progeria. Great. Now I'm bummed thinking about it. This thing have any liquor?
See what I mean? Now, I would tone it down on the sound effects just a little bit, so it does become overstimulating to the characters speaking or moving, and put it in scenes where they work well. But hey, let's just be glad they don't use the same ones repeatedly like in Johnny Test with the whip sound effects. Another nitpick I have are the jokes and gags. Like with people dying over and over again, it's like rehashing the same jokes isn't going to get a chuckle out of me, if I'm being honest here. First guy dying, didn't laugh at that. Second guy dying, didn't laugh at that. Now, it works for Looney Tunes because, well, it's Looney Tunes and somehow they're like Deadpool. They're indestructible and can't die because they're cartoon characters. But for Hazbin, it may or may not have been funny once, but a second, third, or millionth time, yeah, not so funny. But that's just me. It's like Family Guy repeating the same shit on Meg jokes over and over again, which they did, and was never funny to even fucking begin with, mind you. But some of the jokes did get me to laugh. Like this one, for example.
Oh, harder, Daddy. Son?
And this one.
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can suck your dick.
Ha! No.
And this one.
You thought it would be some kind of big fucking riot just to pull me out of nowhere? You think I'm some kind of fucking clown?
Maybe.
But hey, at least I knew how to make the audience laugh. And now to get the elephant out of the room. People are trying to cancel Hazbin and Viv for the following scenes in this plot.
You can put that away. I don't touch the gays. I have standards. I to take this seriously?
Fine, I'll try. Just don't get your taco in a twist, baby.
Was that you trying to be sexist or racist?
Whatever pisses you off more.
Why? Because PC culture or whatever. Now, since some of these people are extreme SCW pieces of shit, let me remind them. The show takes place in hell. What kind of people go to hell? Very bad ones. The worst of the worst. Even bigots who are homophobic, racist, sexist, literally terrible people go to hell. Hopefully I got through to them, but if not, then they'll just remain stupid, and there's nothing we can do about stupid. Sadly enough. I do hope to see more of Hazbin stuff in the future, and I freaking love this pilot. It's a good start to the Hazbin, and for those wondering, I will do a review of Helluva Boss and compare both pilots and conclude which one did better. Now, is the Hazbin pilot perfect? Well, no, not really. But keep in mind that it is a pilot. Pilots aren't meant to be perfect, and are just the start of the show. Look at pilots of shows like the Powerpuff Girls, Rugrats, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Trick Moon, and many more to list off, including My Life as a Teenage Robot. They aren't good, but they're the beginning of an upcoming show or possible movie the creator aims to make. But I feel like the Hazbin pilot is honestly amazing and enjoyable regardless if it's perfect or not. I honestly love Hazbin and can't wait to see more of it. That being said, leave your thoughts and opinions of Hazbin Hotel in the comments below. Cue the outro. RP is out. Peace!
I have a dream, I'm here to tell about a wonderful, fantastic new hotel. Yes, it's one of a kind, right here in hell, catering to a specific clientele. Inside of every demon is a rainbow, inside every sinner is a shining smile, inside of every creepy engine floating maniac is a jolly loving child. We can turn them round, they'll be heaven bound.